California Governor Jerry Brown just took another swipe at the president's crackdown on criminal immigrants. Brown, a Democrat, over the weekend pardoned a pair of immigrants convicted of felonies to try to save them from deportation, one of them guilty of a gang-related weapons charge. Can President Trump stop the Golden State from becoming a sanctuary state for such felons? Joining us now for a debate from San Diego is John Cox, a Republican candidate for governor, and in Fort Worth, Texas, Francisco Hernandez, an immigration attorney. So, Francisco, I want to start with you to lay the legal ground here. I think people have a lot of questions about how a pardon from a state governor for state crimes shields an immigrant with a felony from deportation, which is a federal responsibility.
Well, because he pardoned the underlying offenses, which is about as effective as President Trump pardoning Yosemite Sam over in Arizona. You can't pardon somebody who didn't at least admit they've done something wrong. But bottom line, it doesn't matter. We've got to resolve this issue. We're talking the difference of deporting someone who's admitted to a criminal offense.
No, but specifically to the felony here. I mean, people really have questions about why is it that a state governor can pardon these crimes. That is something governors do all the time. But how does that shield someone from a deportation?
Well, it may or may not. It doesn't matter. We have all these states, Arizona, Georgia, passing these state laws.
We're going to move over to John Cox. You're running for governor in California. Does it not matter?
Yeah.
Name Cox.
Yeah, it matters.
California. Really.
It matters, Katie, as you said, because the first job of any governor is to protect the people. And what Jerry Brown continues to do, mismanage this state and expose the people of California to more danger. You know, the rule of law is sacrosanct, Katie. It's the thing that protects us. It's the thing that makes us so that we don't live in chaos and we don't live in terror of criminals roaming the streets. Now, I'm not saying
that's your
these people were roaming the streets, but my platform is to protect the people of this state, absolutely. And you don't do that by running gambits around federal law, by pardoning people without a reasonable justification.
Francisco,
and you're doing
question for you. Question for you, Francisco. Should the governor of California be making decisions for the people of his state when it comes to allowing felons back out on the streets to get back at Donald Trump? Is that really the way he should be running the state?
You're giving him the victory. He cannot pardon a federal deal. It doesn't matter what he does in state law. He can pardon an ant. It doesn't matter.
So can this guy still get deported? Can the federal government still deport this guy for his weapons charges?
The federal government can deport him just because they pled guilty. And this guy, Cox, is running for governor against him. That's the best thing he can do.
Okay, Francisco, I want you are a legal attorney, immigration attorney. I would like you to answer my question. Can the federal government, through Immigration and Customs Enforcement, still deport this guy based on his felony weapons charges? Okay, John, now you can respond.
Yeah. We're on Tuesday night,
Katie,
prime time.
I'm a businessman. Excuse me. May I respond,
John, go
please?
ahead.
I'm a businessman. I've got to solve
Francisco, let John respond and I'll get you in.
Excuse me.
John, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Katie. I'm a businessman, Katie. I've got to solve problems. I've also got to make sure the rules are enforced. What Governor Brown is doing with this kind of action is sending a message to people, frankly, people who are already in prison and who were wondering why they aren't getting pardoned as well. He's sending a message that the rule of law doesn't matter. And, the thing that separates us from a lot of countries around the world, Katie, that are in chaos, that are not successful, is that in this country, we enforce the rule of law. This is why making California a sanctuary state is so unproductive. I'm a businessman. I have to solve problems. We have to actually address the problem of illegal immigration and protection of our citizens, and we're not going to do that as long as we have politicians, crass politicians like Jerry Brown and, frankly, Gavin Newsom, who will get their way around it.
Over and back to you.
Please.
Over and back to you. How is it that states like California and cities, sanctuary cities, are still getting away with
There is no such thing as sanctuary city.
Yes, there is. San Francisco's on California just voted to be a sanctuary state.
Picking up anybody. The federal government can take these folks right back right now. We are so intent on being right. Oh, okay.
You should
There's
tell
a
that,
campaign. Give it a
Francisco, you should tell that to the family of a young woman who was murdered in Northern California because the authorities there did not inform the federal authorities when they released a guy from custody.
Okay, so I'm gonna interject here and ask Francisco another question. We all know about that case. We're going to move on to this topic.
Run for governor.
Francisco,
this is too easy.
Is this a good use of resources from the state government to be using pardons to pardon immigrants who have felony records?
The pardon does not matter. Let's get on to the 11
But detail
million
why it
people
doesn't matter.
who
Why
have
does it
committed
not
zero.
matter?
No, I'm here for the 11 million people who committed zero offenses, paying taxes.
We're not talking
taking
about that.
care of
We're
their
talking about
business.
two
we're not
immigrants
talking about
yesterday, who were
They're
pardoned by
gonna
Jerry
be
Brown.
deported.
Who
They're going to be deported.
Maybe not.
They're
I mean,
gone. They're
they're
on
being
the bus.
protected by
They
a
will.
state that won't turn them over to ICE.
We're letting the tail wag the dog.
Okay.
Let's
Over to
get
you, John.
on.
You look like you need to respond.
We're letting
going to
dangerous
California to run for
people
governor.
out. We're letting dangerous people out on the to hurt people
We're letting
potentially in the
dangerous people
community. We've got to make sure that the rule of law is enforced. We've got to send a message to everybody that the rule of law is going to be enforced. And if I'm the elected governor of California, it will be,
sky is
Katie.
falling.
And that's what the first rule, and that's the first role of a governor is to protect the people.
No,
and
that's
Jerry
not
Brown
the
is
first
letting
role.
the people
All right,
of California
Francisco,
down.
quick last
Fund the
word to you.
government.
Public safety.
Quick last word to you, Francisco.
And no, it's my goodness. No, you run for governor. Yeah, stand for the rule of law. Don't take on immigration issues, federal issues that you got nothing to do with.
I'm not. And Jerry Brown is inserting
right.
himself by using the pardon power. That's the problem here.
Yeah.
He's
You're both
eroding the
wrong.
rule of law, and he's inserting himself in the situation.
So we know that the governor pardoned these two immigrants. They had criminal records. They
going
did
as
their
a
time. And now
libertarian.
we know that Francisco says they can still be deported under federal law. So we'll see where
They
it
will
goes
be.
from there. Thank
They
you
will
both
be.
for
They
coming on.